Hello and welcome back to another Talk Wargaming tutorial. In this video I'll be continuing my look at the Gates of Antares miniatures by showing you how to paint an Algoryn AI Squad Member. And as always I'll be using the Army Painter's range of paints to do so. So here we have the Algoryn, and as you can see I've already primed and assembled the miniature. I've primed it with the Army Painter's Chaotic Red Spray Primer. Now the reason I've done this is because most of the armour is red and the Chaotic Red gives us a nice deep red from which to start off with. Now the first paint we'll be using on this miniature is matte black, and we'll be painting the pipes and some of the other various areas across the miniature, including the weapon as well. It's a good idea to keep an example of the painted miniatures from Warlord games so you can see exactly which areas need to be painted black. The next step is to paint any bare areas of flesh on the miniature with necrotic flesh. Now you may need a few coats in order to get a nice even coverage with this. Now it's time to start work on the washes. Now we're washing over the entirety of the armour with dark tone ink. Continuing with the washes, we'll now be washing the flesh areas with soft tone ink. We want a very light wash of this, so we don't want to obscure the details too much. So now that we've finished with the washes, we can now start with the highlights. And first of all, we'll be starting with the armour, and we'll be highlighting the edges with Dragon Red. Now you don't have to worry about making these too thin at the moment, so as we'll be doing further highlights later on. So we will be continuing with the armour highlights with a highlight of pure red along the upper edges, and we'll be doing this a lot thinner than the previous one, as we just want to kind of keep the Dragon Red blended in and have this just on the very edges. The final highlight is to spot a small amount of lava orange into each of the corner panels of the armour, especially the ones that are the upper sections such as the shoulder pads and around the torso as well. Now that the armour is completed, we can now highlight the black areas such as the pipes and also the weapon, and we'll be highlighting these with uniform grey. The next task is to highlight some of the facial features, and we're using a mixture of barbarian flesh and necrotic flesh to highlight just the areas around the brow, the nose and also the mouth as well. The final step for painting the skin is to apply a small amount of flesh wash around the facial features. The final step is to paint the line detailing on the armour, and for this we'll be using matte white, and we're using a thinned down version which will give us a really nice kind of crisp line to paint with. So here we have the completed Algoryn. Now in this video I've used a helmetless miniature, but if you wanted to paint a miniature with a helmet you could follow the exact same steps as I have done for painting the rest of the armour. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to check out my previous tutorial in which I showed you how to paint the Concord miniatures. And if there are any other miniatures from the Gates of Antares range you would like to see me paint, then let me know in the comments and I'll do my best. So until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.